Good morning guys. In this video we are going to look object oriented programming features. So presented by Sabana Yasmin. So features of object oriented programming: class, object, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. Class is that it defines a new data type. Once defined, this new type can be used to create objects of that type. A class is template for an object, and an object is an instance of class. A class is declared by use of the class keyword. So an object is basic unit of object-oriented programming that represents real-time entities. So they have state, behavior, and identity. So state represents attributes of an object, behavior presented methods of an object, and identity unique name given to that object. So next, abstraction. So an essential element of object oriented programming is abstractions. Humans manage complexity through abstraction. For example, people do not think of a car as set of tens of thousands of individual parts. They think of it as well-defined object with its own unique behavior. This abstraction allows people to use a car to drive to grocery store without being overwhelmed by the complexity of the parts that from the car. They can ignore the details of the engine, transmission and braking systems work. So next, a powerful way to manage abstraction is through the use of hierarchical classifications. Hierarchical abstraction of complex system can also be applied to computer programs. The data from a traditional process-oriented program can be transformed by abstraction into its component objects. So next, encapsulation is the mechanism that binds together code and the data it manipulates and keeps both safe from outside interference and misuse. One way to think about the encapsulation is as protective wrapper that prevents the code and data from being arbitrarily accessed by the other code defined outside the wrapper. Access to the code and data inside the wrapper is tightly controlled through the well-defined interface. Since the purpose of a class to encapsulate complexity, there are mechanisms for hiding the complexity of the implementation inside the class. Each method or variable in a class may be marked private or public. The public interface of a class represents everything that external users of the class need to know or may know. The private methods and data can only be accessed by the code that is member of the class. So next, inheritance is the process which one object acquires the properties of another object. This is important because it supports the concept of hierarchical classifications. Most knowledge is made or manageable by hierarchical classification. For example, they have a use of inheritance. An object need only define those qualities that make it unique within its class. It can inherit its general attributes from its parents. So most people naturally view the world as made up of objects that are related to each other in a hierarchical way, such as animals, mammals and dogs. If you wanted to describe animals in abstract way, you would to say they have some attributes such as size, intelligence and the skeletal system. Animals also have a certain behavioral aspects. They eat, breathe and sleep. This description of attributes and behaviors is the class definition for animals. Um, next, next, polymorphism. Polymorphism is the ability to take more than one form. Is a feature that allows one interface to be used for general class of actions. Um, more generally, the concept of polymorphism is often expressed by the phrase one interface, multiple methods. This means that it is possible to design a generic interface to a group of related activities. This helps to reduce complexity by allowing the same interface. Extending the dog analogy, the dog sense of smell, it's polymorphic. If the dog smells a cat, if it will bark and run after it. If the dog smells its food, it will salivate and run into its bowl. The same sense of smell is worked in both situations. The difference is what is being smelled, that is the type of data being operated upon by the dog's nose. This same general concept can be implemented in Java as it applies the methods within the Java program. Thank you guys.